One summer moment can change a child's life. Through Toys for Tots Give and Go initiative, your support provides books, games, toys, and outdoor adventures that spark curiosity, creativity, and a love of nature. Whether it's fishing, learning a new sport, reading under a tree, or playing with friends, these moments build confidence and lifelong memories. For too many children, those moments never come. You can help change that this summer. Visit toysfortots.org. Toys for Tots, delivering hope beyond the holidays.
As scientific discovery changes the landscape, advances in cancer care may offer new hope for your patients. See how Pfizer is helping reshape what's possible at cancer.pfizer.com.
No radio. Alrighty, Lionel with you, and this is another side of midnight. So glad to be here with you and yours. I hope everybody knows. I trust you hear me. There we go. A little long there. I thought, oh my God, I always think, oh my God, something's wrong. Something's wrong. Anyway, I'm so glad to be with you. I'll be with you until 5 a.m. Eastern Time, wherever you are. I don't know where you are. How would I know? Anyway, for the next 3 hours, it's you and me and you and a dog named Boo, traveling and living off the land. My friends, there's a great little story that you must do. And you must talk to all of your friends and ask them how many countries have a 4th of July. It's very, very simple. It's very simple. It's kind of a trick question, sort of. And you always ask, how many countries have a 4th of July? And the answer is all of them. Ta-da. Find out how many of your friends don't get the joke. It's not even a joke. It's just obvious. It's play on words, because every country has the month of July and the 4th day. And, of course, they don't have an Independence Day. I've got to explain this to you. But what you do is you go on, let's say, X or some particular Facebook, and you have to write it like this. Here's a trick question that nobody understands and nobody gets. And then you write the question. How many countries have a 4th of July? And out of the woodwork, people will come answering, well, they all do. And it's like that Margaret from Leave It to Beaver, raising her hand. Mrs. Canfield? Yes, Margaret. All of them, they have to answer the question. They have to be the first one to insist, I know it. Then what you do is you follow up with, I can't believe that nobody's got this right. It's so obvious. Please look at the obvious question. It's not what you think. Don't read into it. It's simple. How many countries have a 4th of July? Now, you know the answer, and you know that they've answered this. You will drive these people nuts. I'm telling you, I do it. I've been doing this every year. I do it sometimes 2 or 3 times a year. Because people don't understand when they're being played. Just like if you invite somebody over to your apartment or your home, put a sign on your door that says, don't knock. And then watch through the peephole as they wonder, well, what the heck do I do? Any event, the hijinks are in abound. Coming up at 20-something plus past the hour, it's Warrior Wednesday with my better half, my beloved, Lynn Shaw from Lynn's Warriors. And I want to talk about something which my take, my view on, of course, the birth of the nation. Now, I don't know about you, but remember, my views, I only speak for me. Do not hold anybody accountable for what I think, okay? I like normally when you're doing this and somebody will say, the views of our hosts are not necessarily the views. It's like, well, thank you. The way they're running from you. No. We don't know who this guy is. And I understand it's a good idea to absent yourself from any responsibility. But I will say this right off the bat. Every year, especially on prototypical, I don't want to mention certain names, but certain, shall we say, certain cable outlets, every year, 4th of July is bad country music. Bad. Kind of like this newfangled sort of bad. They're not going to take my flag away. Yeah, red, white, and blue. Oh, it's corn pone. It's syrupy. It's saccharine. It's anodyne. It's almost a bad takeoff. It's anachronistic, and it's demeaning. It's demeaning. It's the same thing. And then you go and say, well, let's see right now. Let's go out on the patio. Let's go out on the plaza. And we have our guest today from the Pork Council. Here's how to make ribs, and they do that. And then they'll have, again, more bad country music and like Kash Patel's Girlfriend. And, I mean, it's the same thing all the time. And a lot of people, a lot of younger folks don't get this because sometimes they're kind of flagged out. I used to think that. I got to be honest with you. I thought, what is with all these flags? It's kind of like the study of flags is vexillology. And I thought, what is with all of this preoccupation with this flag business? It's a fetish for the flag, this. And, later on, I thought, I kind of like this more and more and more. But when people wear it in their lapel and they wear it in their you can always tell somebody's knowledge of American history is inversely proportional to the size of their lapel pin. The bigger the flag, the less they know. Just like people will wear their religion in huge crucifixes, life-size crosses around their neck. Look at me, I'm a Christian, see? Okay. To each his own. I'm a little more subtle because that is a cover for not really understanding what the essence of this is. And have you been to Philly lately? Have you seen the Constitutional Center? Because we are a constitutional republic. It's not about the flag. Nobody died for the flag. It's the Constitution. And there's this thing which drives me crazy. Admittedly, not a very long ride. But on this 4th of July, tomorrow, now technically it's right now, it is important, my friend, to remember something that has become strangely, I think, controversial in modern America. And that is that loving your country is not the same thing as loving your government. And it is certainly not the same as loving a political party, that's for sure. In fact, one could argue that one of the highest forms of patriotism is the absolute willingness to question and to challenge and even oppose government when government forgets its proper place. And America was not founded upon obedience to authority. America was founded upon what can only be called a resistance to authority. Think about that. Not compliance, not giving in, not obeisance, but a resistance to authority. The men and women we honor today were not celebrating a government that they admired. They were rebelling against a government that they believed had become distant and arrogant and unresponsive to the rights of free people. That may sound like corn pone or whatever, but that's the truth. The 4th of July is not a celebration of power. It is a celebration of liberty. It is not a celebration of military. And I know people love the military, and that's great. But when I see planes and flyers and bombers and jets, I'm thinking, wait a minute, that's not it. It's not war. They always, this is a militaristic vein. It's always war. No. No. We're losing our minds. The American flag doesn't belong to Republicans, and it doesn't belong to Democrats, and it doesn't belong to any president or administration or movement or any particular ideology. It belongs to the American people. And the generations who truly sacrificed so much to preserve what they believed was an extraordinary experiment in self-government. That's it. Now, that's not to say that every war is valid. Don't get into that. Don't tell me that. We love to say the reason why they died was for our freedom. Vietnam had nothing to do with my freedom. So stop conflating all this. We have to remind people it's this, but it's not this. Too often, we confuse loyalty to a party with loyalty to a nation. Political parties are temporary administrations. They come and they go. Campaign slogans fade. But America endures. And the Constitution, not the Declaration of Independence, not the flag, the Constitution endures. And the ideals of freedom of speech and freedom of religion and the process and equal justice under the law, all of that endure. Now listen, you can love America and despise Congress. You can love America and oppose war. You can love America and disagree with the president, any president. Indeed, in fact, if patriotism required unquestioning obedience, then the founders themselves would have been guilty of treason against patriotism rather than heroes of liberty. Remember, it is okay to peacefully and vehemently disagree. And this thing called patriotism, which I think a lot of younger people have a hard time with. I know I did when I was younger. I didn't get it. Maybe I just wasn't smart enough or mature enough. But real patriotism is not applause on command like some barking seal. It is stewardship. It is the recognition and the true understanding that this nation was entrusted to us by those who came before, and we hold in trust for those who will come after us. This is a conveyor belt, my friends. It's not about you and me. It's about everybody hereafter. And loving America means caring enough to demand honesty from leaders and competence from institutions and accountability. Don't ever feel embarrassed about this. I love what our country did. And you know what we did? Music. The greatest thing, the greatest culture is our music. I will put this, I think our food's pretty interesting too. Granted, we've kind of appropriated a lot of themes, but our music and our sense of rebellion. And let me tell you something. I know people screaming, they got this Mom Donnie is the mayor. This is what America is. Only in America can you elect a commie. I kid, of course, because he's not a commie, and that's another story. We'll talk about that later. But this is about your understanding and recognition of the bedrock of what this country is, not a political party. And one party doesn't own. There's no ownership to this. And if we ever really want, and by the way, the politics part, oh my God, don't get me started. We have this kind of an elitist idea. Our side is correct. And let me also tell you something. If you really want to change, if you really want to make sure that things are as was intended, you have to learn history. The other day, somebody was saying, this is a Christian country. This is a Judeo-Christian. Wait a minute. No, it's not. No, it's not. What do you mean? What about in God we trust and one nation under God? And it was almost, I don't want to say that was an expression, but the Treaty of Tripoli, signed by John Adams. We don't learn anything. And the number of people who never crack a book, and by the way, we still have some of the best we have right now through ChatGPT and a variety of AI programs. You can access so much history and so much lore before your very eyes. It's so easy to do. So anyway, celebrate this. I don't want people to get too heavy-handed about it. But the country and government have absolutely nothing to do with each other. In fact, one of the worst corruptions of liberty has been the political party. I am a proud independent. I don't think I will ever be a member of a party, ever. In fact, there's talk now about Tucker Carlson and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Joe Kent and Thomas Massie and other people forming a third party. And I have always adamantly said, I just want two parties. I'll take a second one because we have a uniparty. They've been saying this since the days of Wendell Willkie. We have two people, two groups, this illusion of the left-right experiment or this paradigm, this illusion that there's a Democrats and the Republicans, there's a left and right. No, there isn't. Two sides of the same coin. Diet Pepsi, Diet Coke, McDonald's, Burger King. It's the same thing. A little variation, but that's not what it's about. So today, be happy and celebrate, but understand what we are about. It's questioning authority. We are feisty and we are contumacious. And I say this with all due respect. Coming up right now, we have the Warrior Weekend portion with my beloved, my better half, Lynn Shaw from Lynn's Warriors. We're going to be talking about what's going on regarding the fight against child predation and trafficking and the like. 800-848-9222. More coming up on the 4th of July edition of Another Side of Midnight with me, Lionel.
The Other Side of Midnight with Lionel.
Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Already, my friend Lionel with you on Another Side of Midnight. How perfect this is. We know we are warriors. In a good way, we're intellectual and spiritual warriors. And I mean that with all due respect right now. My friends, I am so glad to bring into the microphone my better half, Lynn Shaw from Lynn's Warriors at lynswarriors.org. And tonight, the theme for Warrior Wednesday is freedom, families, and the next generation. Why child protection is the new frontier of American liberty. You know, right now, the 4th is about stewardship. It's about one generation accepting responsibility for the next. As I explained, we are on the conveyor belt, if you will, of responsibility. The founders spoke often about posterity, and they understood that freedom is not self-sustaining. It must, absolutely must be protected. And because of this, we commit ourselves to protecting the next generation, namely that is children. So with that, I bring to the microphones Lynn Shaw from Lynn's Warriors on YouTube. Happy 4th. Have fun today. God bless America. Welcome, my darling Lynn Shaw, to Another Side of Midnight.
Good morning, Lionel. You know what? I want everyone today to take a breath, relax a little bit, have fun with family and friends. And you said it. You know, we want everyone to stay safe, and God bless America.
Absolutely. Say it loud, say it proud. My dear, let me ask you one question. Starting off, what exactly does child safety have to do with Independence Day?
Well, Lionel, we think everything. I mean, the 4th of July, listen, we celebrate liberty, the self-government, but every generation has a responsibility to preserve. We don't talk about this enough, to preserve those freedoms for the next generation. And our children today in 2026 are not free. You know, they've been born, I will say 30 years old and under, really born in this digital bubble that nobody asked for, right? It was just thrown at everybody. So our duty now is to wake up, to enact safety protocols that we talk about all the time on the Warriors, and hold big tech accountable. So today, protecting childhood. This applies to all of us, but let's focus on the kids. You know, protecting this childhood is part of protecting America's future. I always say they are our future American adults and leaders. And I was just in D.C., by the way, just getting back literally a few hours ago. It was the hottest I ever felt it in my entire life. It was like being in an oven in D.C. But anyway, I was there for Social Media Victims Remembrance Day recently on Capitol Hill. It is the most heartbreaking thing. Big tech is being given this free pass right now. No regulations, no follow-up, despite all the harms being proven now, but not for long, because on this Social Media Victims Remembrance Day, we gathered hundreds and hundreds of photos of kids, okay, right there in the Capitol with their parents and their family members, and calling out big tech and calling upon our government to do something. It is time to take action. So I say, let's go America. Today's a great reminder. It starts with understanding what's happening, right? Understanding we're sitting right here in the middle of AI, artificial intelligence, and our kids don't work for big tech or AI. We don't work for them. They need to work for us. So as far as freedoms and all that, let's talk about the freedoms of our children and our American families.
Let's also talk about this, if we could, Lynn Shaw from Lynn's Warriors, lynswarriors.org. What does the role of posterity mean today, vis-a-vis our founders and our forebears and what their vision was?
Yeah, posterity is a word, I mean, basically, I don't hear anybody talking about that anymore, but it really just means generations who come after us. So going back 250 years, 1776, the challenge was political freedom. Fast forward right now, 2026. The greatest challenge we believe at Lynn's Warriors is ensuring children inherit technology that serves them rather than exploits them. And day after day, and you know it because you hear me and you see me and we're constantly talking about it, whether it's on Another Side of Midnight, also on the great, Catch Roundtable every Sunday morning, that right now it's exploiting them. We all know it. What is this controversy about? Except for, and I could go on hours about that, except big tech, again, there are no regulations. They have a free pass, runaway train, and right now they are at the top of power and money. And you know, and I know, everyone knows, power and money, unfortunately, always win over, let's say, protection of people. It's profit over our kids. So we're not protecting right now the generations who are kids right now and the generations of kids coming, and that is the work we are doing right now. We are doing historical work, laying the groundwork, right? We really believe this is a time in history with artificial intelligence like no other time ever, but it's our duty, our jobs right now to protect future generations.
What are some of the threats and the challenges that kids today have that we have just never seen, as we say in law, that is a case of first impression? What are they precisely?
I was thinking about this because there are so many challenges, there are so many dangers. But Lionel, remember the bicentennial? Because I clearly do. I mean, I don't care. I'm proud. I remember that I was a teenager, right? And as a teenager, we were all excited about it, right? I remember they were bringing TV sets. Now, I'm aging myself a little bit here in New Jersey, but, they brought a TV set out into somebody's driveway. That was like a big deal with the extension cords. So, like, a couple of houses could, like, all the kids and teenagers, like, everybody could watch the ship sailing on the Hudson. Do you remember all that? There was like a lot of...
I graduated from high school then. Are you kidding? Every week we had remember Walter Cronkite, the Bicentennial Minute, the Susan B. Anthony dollar. Remember that one that looked like a quarter and we confused? Oh, yes, absolutely.
But we were kids then, right? Teens, and we were interested. Sort of. And I remember being lumped in because we didn't think twice about it, in the burbs, as we say. Like, there were little kids running around, like 4 or 5-year-olds. There were 16-year-olds. We were all mixed in, like excited about these ships that we were going to watch on this TV in a driveway, right? And I want to, remind everybody, so we never had any of this at all. And somehow it seeped into our just lives. Just think about it. We live on apps. Our lives are basically, we're living on apps. Food delivery and this one and customer service. So we never had any of this. And all of a sudden we have the horrors of sextortion, especially our teenage boys. These strangers, these predators, a lot of them in other countries, threatening our kids online. If you don't send me another image, I'm going to tell your family. If you don't send me the $500 I want, go kill yourself. I mean, this is happening every second that we talk. Now we've got all of this proven predatory algorithms that big tech just, again, because there's no regulation, just feeding. You look up the word Apple, the next thing you know, you're in an Apple porn site. Kids aren't even looking for things. It's just being thrown at them nonstop. It's like what I think of it when, and I always say to you, when we're in Times Square, those big billboards and all the lights, you could lose your mind if you stare at all those billboards at night that are lighting up the sky and they're all surrounding you. It's like when you go to the movie theater and they say, if you have any issues with the lights or something like that, danger kind of thing. And so we've got all this predatory behavior, these deep fakes now. You can take any child's face, which is why we're always saying do not put children's pictures online.
Yes.
Everybody does. Everybody's proud of their kids.
Everybody does.
But they're not listening. They'll take their face, they have done, they do. These criminals, and they'll put it on another body, and they'll create porn all kinds of things, deep fakes, just everybody should say it's a fake, because everything there's so much that's a deep fake today. We have online grooming. It is done so quickly. Our children, especially teens and kids, are searching for love. And who doesn't want to hear you're smart, you're beautiful, you're handsome, oh, you're great at sports. And this grooming process of getting to know the child, know the teen, right? It's happening so fast now within like 24 hours. We have.
We're talking to Lynn. We're talking to Lynn Shaw from Lynn's Warriors, lynswarriors.org, Lynn's Warriors on YouTube, and on X at Lynn's_Warriors. Somebody has suggested recently that the problem really isn't technology per se. And if that's true, what is the problem?
Well, I just want to finish a thought about,
sure,
if you don't mind, Lionel, just like...
Not at all.
Just again to remind everybody, the cyberbullying is I can't even explain it online. The social media addiction we now have proven with our kids, and this digital manipulation. This is what our kids are living in, this world of digital manipulation. So now we have, many people, and they come after me, and you see it, right? Like they say, oh, it's the parents' problem, and the bad parents, and they're cursing at me online and sending me horrible images and things. We're a family program. I can't even repeat. Mm-hmm. But
right.
Technology, I'm here to remind everybody, okay? Yeah, technology is a big part of the problem, but technology is a tool. Okay, the question is whether, the technology is designed with kids, with their best interests in mind, or designed primarily to maximize engagement, attention, and revenue. I think we can all understand today, yes, when there's no kind of regulation, there's no accountability, everybody goes for the money, for the revenue, right? So big tech must bear some responsibility. I don't want to hear anymore the government shouldn't get involved. You're giving away our digital this. It comes at me left and right. That being said, why is this the only business there is no regulation? Why are they allowed to make these trillions? I don't even know how much money, what you even call it. The number, I really don't. I'll just say trillions off the backs of our kids and our families and off of all of us, right? Now, look, proof of harms, it's here. We have it all. Yet, driving policy in D.C. right now, which is what we fight at the Warriors, that's why we're going there all the time, and we're walking in Congress and talking to our representatives, tech is driving policy. They've got, one lobbyist per 6 members of Congress. I'm still investigating, but I heard it's really one lobbyist per every 4 members of Congress. And again, it's money and power. That being said, that is why I want everybody to become a warrior in your own home and community. You've got to parent up. You've got to take some responsibility while we fight for legislation, okay? Basically just saying, big tech, you have a responsibility to our kids. I don't think it's too much everyone to ask for, since they're making all this money and kind of ruling the roost and running around Washington and literally at the dinner table at the White House. Parent up. Talk to your kids. It sounds very simple. You've got to spend a couple of minutes a day knowing to the best of your ability what apps they're using. Don't forget about gaming. That's a big one, especially with our boys. What games? Is it just with their friends? Are they dealing with strangers around the world? Talk to them about what kind of technology. Now a lot of kids are in camp. Do you know what's going on camp-wise? Are they on iPads in camp? Are they on programs, in camp? You've got to know what's going on. The excuse now that we're all overwhelmed, we don't have time to keep up. Look, we are all overwhelmed. But this is part and parcel of your daily life. Now, these are our precious kids. You bought those devices, most likely. You put your kids in school or camp. You've got to parent up and understand what's going on. Ask questions. And there's so many free resources. I mean, even go to lynswarriors.org. We have a resource page. We'll direct you where you need to go there, because big tech makes it nearly impossible to enact. There are safety features on devices. It's 31 steps on an iPhone. And I can guarantee you, because parents tell me all the time, we get to step 10 or 11, it is too difficult. We hand our child the phone and say, just be safe. So we have to do better in our homes, and step up and make this a priority.
May I add something? We're talking to Lynn Shaw from Lynn's Warriors, lynswarriors.org. If people must go to your YouTube channel at Lynn's Warriors And I've got to just throw this one in because I was blown away this week when you interviewed one of the best interviews ever with I think the longest serving congressman in New Jersey, Chris Smith. It was one of the best interviews. I could not believe it. Can you speak to that just a tad? I don't want to dictate what you're talking about.
I'm glad you brought up Congressman Chris Smith from New Jersey. Everybody, my home state, proud to say. But let me tell you why Rep. Smith was so great. First of all, it was such an honor to speak with him. He has been in the room. You're correct about New Jersey, longest serving, representative, but also one of the longest in Congress. He's in his 46th year, and normally I know, but normally, I'm seeing, and I'm sorry, but Mitch McConnell falling down and other ones falling asleep on Capitol Hill, and I'll say, maybe term limits or something. But for this man, no, I want a Chris Smith on Capitol Hill. He has been there almost 50 years, and he is the first one. There was no law. Human trafficking was not a crime until he enacted, this piece of legislation. In the year 2000, he has authored 5 pieces of legislation, anti-human trafficking legislation. He is a dynamo, a powerhouse, not only in America, globally. And right now he has something called the Trafficking Victims Protection Reauthorization Act. And all he needs right now, and this is an example of this red tape that nobody can understand, he needs this reauthorized because, with these pieces of legislation every few years, you got to go back to the table and get it reauthorized. Usually not hard. Congress signs off, president signs off, easy, right? But he's been trying to do this now for the last few years, get this reauthorized. It's actually the 2025 reauthorization.
Incredible.
And he can't get Congress to act on it. Why do we even have this Congress? They seem to be.
Let me just add something. To reauthorize. They authorized it before. It's nothing new. Reauthorize.
Yes, you're right. Reauthorize. In my excitement.
No, but I'm saying. No. You did say that.
But
what I'm saying is the irony.
I don't understand Congress not signing off on something that's not seeking money. That's not. It's just reauthorizing to continue the work for survivors of trafficking. For
that
children.
They agree to. Yes.
Yes.
It makes no sense.
Yeah, but shout out, everybody should look up Representative Chris Smith because he's the ideal. He's what we want in Congress representing us, and he's passionate, and I really, he works alongside his wife. They've been a team for 50 years, and his family, and we need to hear more about him. And if you're in New Jersey, I'm urging all of you, write to your senators and things like that and say, please help Representative Chris Smith, get this reauthorized. I mean, that's just an example of why. Why can't they just sign this? Just a piece of how they hold things up in Congress. And
by the way, when you're in Washington, do what you do. Go see your elected officials. Go in. You don't need a special invitation.
No.
This is your representative. They work for you. Now, let's also talk about this. Are things getting today, I know this may be a kind of a silly question, but are things today political or too political? Why is something regarding the protection of children subject to debate? I don't get this.
That's the big question that we constantly chip away at every day. Listen, interestingly enough, this may be one of the least partisan issues in America. I mean, I can't think of another issue. Parents, this issue of child safety, right? It crosses political lines, religious, socioeconomic lines. Everyone is agreeing because we work with everybody in Washington. We are working together. We all agree that children deserve stronger protections online. And we really think at the Warriors this is the last issue that Washington can really come together about because we have so many families now more educated and pushing back. We have schools now announcing, limiting screen times coming fall 2026. Last year we saw the phone-to-phone push across the United States where most of our states, limited screens or took the phones out of the classrooms. So we're seeing everybody kind of step up. We know, we always say delay is the way. So parents and caregivers are now, because of all the education we have, and we keep talking about it, they're delaying purchasing phones for kids and iPads for kids. And our states have been doing a terrific job. They don't really get enough credit for passing child safety legislation, much better than the federal government. And our lawmakers, this is what we go to Washington for, with our colleagues, educating our lawmakers, because don't forget, when we were in an office recently, because the issue was something called preemption, and that's for another program, okay, basically getting in there, erasing state laws and having one federal standard, we had high-level people, senators, I couldn't believe it, Lionel, one said, involved in all this, can you explain what preemption means? I mean, really, you want to fall off the chair. So we have to constantly get in their ears and educate them, because remember, they've got these lobbyists from big tech constantly in their offices, talking about how great this is and innovation and global leaders, and we're gonna help kids. Because remember, technology, we were sold a bill of goods. It's going to empower our kids. It's going to make them better educated, that type of thing. So we have learned now all the harms. So finally, families are reclaiming, dinner time, driving in the car, walking the dog, talking about all these things with their kids. And America on a whole is beginning to ask whether this convenience, this big tech we were all sold, has come at too high a price. And that price is our children, our families, our everybody being in the same room and being on a device instead of talking, right? Or just being together watching a movie or something simplistic, I'm sorry, that we grew up with, okay? And so, again, we believe this is truly the last issue. Everybody can come together, whether it's just in your home, your community, and in Washington, D.C.
We're talking to Lynn Shaw from Lynn's Warriors, lynswarriors.org, and on YouTube at Lynn's Warriors. Please make sure you see that Chris Smith interview. What steps can families take this summer, and what can be done collectively? What can parents do? Because I suspect that many parents, many people, not because they're bad or lazy or stupid, I don't think they grasp the level of harm and the potential harm that what they thought was rather innocuous and safe, a phone, games, it's called a game. How can a game be bad? And we're not talking about, remember the old days, we worried about the violence, about whether games were too violent. That kind of got somebody's attention. But what can parents do, especially this summer?
Listen, this is a great time. We do this every summer at the Warriors. We like to say a little bit of the pressure's off, right? You don't have the school schedules, basically. It's a little more relaxed summertime to really reevaluate all of this. And it's a lot to take in. I mean, it's a complex issue. It can become dark and ugly, talking about predators online and sextortion and all this type of behavior. So a lot of people tend to close their eyes, right? They don't want to talk about it. But I'm here to say, because we work with families, you'll want to talk about it if something happens to your child. We want to get in there before and educate and intervene and protect, okay? Parents, a reminder, everybody, parent up, because parents remain the first and best line of defense. Yes, we're talking about Washington or your state capital, but parents, you are the ones, caregivers, grandparents, you are the ones. Technology can, remember this, everybody, it can assist families, but it can never, ever replace parents, mentors, teachers, coaches, that actual community experience. And now, and this is what I'm scared about, that I don't even know if scared's the right word. I just want to go so hard on it every day. AI, artificial intelligence, it is here. It is a machine, everybody. It is not cute. Our kids, over, it's close to 60% now admit. Remember, anything we have in these studies, the numbers have to always be higher. They're kind of hidden in darkness, but it's close to 60% of kids in high school admit to using, these AI companions and chatbots, because they can mold them in their own likeness and again, be their best friend and things like that. So parents, again, who are busy, right, working and running the home and paying the bills and things like that. If your child's on an iPad, sitting on the couch or in their bedroom, you think, okay, they're under our roof, my roof, and they're safe and all that. But the harm is in your home. So take this summertime when it's a little more relaxed to think about what we're talking about, create these screen-free spaces in your home. Definitely, we always suggest keep devices out of the bedrooms. Kids need to sleep, rest, have a ritual. If you start young, right, again, we believe delay is the way. Kids don't need phones until 8th grade or so, but again, there's parental autonomy. That's your decision. We can only tell you delay is the way, but keep the devices out of the bedrooms because that's where kids are doing this infinite scrolling. They're not resting. They get involved with these predators online. So keep those, devices out. But also, you got to lead by example. If you as the adult are always on your phone or iPad, the kids are watching all this, so you can't tell them, don't do that, and then you're doing it. So maybe you have an hour a day. Let's start small. You put the devices down, all of you, including the adults, okay? Lead by example, but talk openly. Your kids are smart and savvy. They're learning so much online anyway. And even if you think you're protecting them, their friends are telling them, they're hearing something. So talk about the online risks. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Create memories that the kids will be successful with. Get away from the screens is what I'm saying. Use this time to form what we call the Warriors Family Digital Partnerships, where you sit. You don't dictate to the kids. You include them. How are we going to keep our homes safe? Do you ever talk? Very conversational, okay? Because the worst thing is if you yell and scream at your kids, they'll never come to you about anything. They'll hide more things. But remember, adults, you buy these devices. You pay for the internet and the routers in your home. Take responsibility now. We are doing our part at the Warriors, trying to create safety protocols and hold big tech accountable to put out a safe product. Okay, this is not about what's being said online right now. We want a safe product because remember, you eat bad food, it gets recalled. Car seat breaks get recalled. This is the only thing. It's causing proven harm, social media, okay, AI, and nobody's recalling anything. So we stand firm, and we need family digital partnerships and a hand from the government.
And always, we thank you so much. This is so... I just wish you had a little bit more to say. This pulling teeth, come on, say something. Quit being so vague.
Listen.
You are a powerhouse. And this is one of the reasons why not only I love you, but I'm so proud of you because let me tell you something. Getting up at 4, put it this way, 4 in the morning, going to Penn Station with the vermin, the vile, the flotsam and jetsam of humanity, and then coming home at midnight on the train, 3 hours down, 3 hours back, and then walking around Washington on the hottest day. And it is a commitment and it is a passion. And I want people to follow Lynn Shaw at linswarriors.org and on YouTube at Lynn's Warriors and on X at Lynn's_Warriors. Thank you so much, my darling. Happy 4th, and I will see you real soon. Literally.
Thank you, Lionel. Freedom is inherited, but responsibility is chosen. Answer begins with protecting childhood itself. Happy 4th of July, everyone.
Absolutely. More coming up on this 4th of July episode and version of Another Side of Midnight with me, Lionel.
The Other Side of Midnight with Lionel.
Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
We just lost him. The great David Clayton Thomas. We lost him. That means he died. I like when we say he lost, he passed. One of the greats from Canada and one of the true, authentic, soulful voices that were just as good and as authentic as actual black soul music. Let's cut through the garbage here. There's nothing worse than some phony baloney white guy doing the faux soul thing. But he could do it. He could do it. Bill Medley, Corey Wells from the Three Dog Night, Bill Champlin. Certain people can do it. My friends, happy 4th of July. We haven't talked to this character in a long time. You know him, you love him. From Parts Unknown, Weight Unknown. Number 15 in your program, number 1 in your heart. The Pope of Hell's Kitchen. I bring to you, my friends, our good friend John. Welcome, stranger.
Good morning, Lionel. How are you?
First of all, tone it down. Enough with this Rip Taylor volume. Please relax her. How are you, good friend? I was wondering. I was going to send out an APB for you.
I was waiting for it. I'm alive.
Good.
First off, your wife should be canonized immediately. I mean, she's just, like you said, a powerhouse. I mean,
absolutely.
If the lights go out, just put two cables in her hands. She'll light the whole city up.
Indeed.
And I mean that. I got to tell you, Lionel, I'm very dismayed. I'm very disheartened.
Why is that, sir?
You couldn't find an American flag in this neighborhood. I mean, 2 avenues away, there's the Fleet. But 10th Avenue, there's no American flags in stores, in windows. All we have is gay flags, weed flags, and Ukrainian flags.
Yep.
And I saw today a Moroccan flag. Now, I'm sure that's because of the World Cup, but it was gigantic. What is going on? I mean, you know, this little look. I just turned 70. We're probably in the same category a few years apart. We've seen this before, but this time it's serious. I mean, what is going on here?
You know, it's funny you say that, John, because we can go into even the little stores you can walk into. Yeah. They would have cupcakes in the bakery that had flags. It was something. Yeah. It was almost like that's an afterthought. How do we fix that? Is that possible? Is this fixable?
I don't know. You know when I knew we were in trouble? And you haven't heard from me in a while is correct, because I went into into my little blue period, you know? But I came out of it, thank God.
Well, welcome back.
Thank you very much. And you learn things when you're in that blue period, you know? You learn how to find the hole and crawl out of the wreckage.
Yep,
But I knew we were in trouble. It was May 1st, and I went down early in the morning because I had to let a plumber into my building. And a lady walked up to me and said, "Happy May Day, comrade." And I thought I was in Dr. Zhivago. I felt like Omar Sharif all of a sudden.
Oh, my God.
I was like, I hope Julie Christie's upstairs, or at least Geraldine Chaplin.
Yeah.
But, well, Lionel, what's going on? What is going on here?
I have no, and it's also, and there's another thing too, and I'll take it. Yeah. But there's another thing too, which bothers me, not as much. This is a person who says, I'm going to do it. But there is Corn Pone and Hokum. They miss the whole point. It's not just about playing bad country music and having a barbecue. It's the idea of what, if you had to explain to somebody, what is an American like? What is the essence? What is the, we are pugnacious. We fight. We question authority. We don't roll over. That's how we got here.
But you know what, Lionel? Because we're of a certain age.
Do me a favor. Stand by. John, do me a favor. Stand by. I want to continue with this. This is far too important. A good friend, John from West Tampa, from Hell's Kitchen, West Tampa. What am I saying? Anyway, we have more coming up as we celebrate the 4th of July, America's birthday. Our number 800-848-9222. Also coming up, believe it or not, it's about time we're getting down to MK Ultra, menticide, and brain and mind control. It is absolutely fabulous. Starting a little early, nonetheless, on this music, but that's okay. We'll continue doing this. So this was a little early, but that's okay. Just play the music longer. But normally it's like about 58:50. I kind of wrap it up, and then 15. I'm out by 59 normally.
The Other Side of Midnight with Lionel. Entertaining and informative. On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Alrighty, Lionel with you, and this is Another Side of Midnight, and this is the 4th of July version of this thing of ours. And I'm so glad you could be with us. 800-848-9222, 800-848-9222. And we were on speaking to a great friend of the show, a great American, and also one of the quintessential, positively, I guess, organic New Yorkers, John from Hell's Kitchen. That's actually his name. It's on his license. He doesn't even have a license, which is even more interesting. But you were saying something. You know, John, you and I are from the Coolidge administration, so we've been around for a while.
Yeah.
But we remember that we've been through quite a bit. We've been through the Vietnam War. We've been through Watergate. We've been through assassination. Do you realize that from the year 1963 to 1968, we went from JFK to MLK to RFK to Malcolm X to Medgar Evers. It was just, we just became almost immune to it, habituated to it. So we've seen some bad moments. So I think if anybody had the right to be jaundiced, I think it would be you or I or people from our generation and others as well. But yet, we're able, I think, I don't want to speak for you, but we're able to separate appreciation for the foundation, maybe our culture, our brethren, our family, and government. Why is it so different for people to understand or to grasp?
You know, Lionel, the Marvin Gaye is a great song, makes me want to holler, throw up both my hands. Bill Lee knows that one. We all know that one. You know, when I was growing up, as you were growing up, I had friends that were in the Yippies. I had friends that were in the Panthers. I had friends that were in the FALN. I had friends who were in the Irish Northern Aid. But we all wore Uncle Sam hats and ate barbecue and grilled corn and celebrated the 4th of July and had sparklers and Roman candles and stayed up way too late and got way too drunk. Now, it's interesting because the supermarket in my neighborhood here, Food Emporium, I call it food extortion. Food extortion. But people that I've known for years that would be decorating the cakes and putting the little, like, toothpick flags and and everything. Now when I say to them, have a happy 4th of July, they say, that's not my holiday. I said, wait a minute, it was your holiday 2 years ago. What are you talking about? So I think what's beginning to happen here, and, you know, it's an interesting thing here in Hell's Kitchen. I remember when the whole gay thing really, really took off. And listen, to each their own, God bless them, whatever. All of the stores on 10th Avenue were told that if they didn't put a rainbow sticker or something that showed that they were gay-friendly, that they would not, people wouldn't do business with them. All of them.
You know what this reminds me of in a weird way? Yeah. When Joe Colombo, when they were doing that Italian civil rights thing.
Yeah, where you got shot in Columbus Circle.
They would tell people it would be really important, a really good idea for you to put this in your shop. Oh, yes.
Yeah. The Italian-American Civil Rights League.
That's exactly right.
That's exactly what it was. And if you didn't, you got cinder blocks put through your front window. So I understand. And a lot of my friends here, you know, the remaining mom and pops in the neighborhood, some of my friends that own, they used to be called bodegas. Now they're Yemenegas because everyone who owns them is from Yemen. They took offense, some of them because of their beliefs and what would happen in their country. But then they all started to realize that if we don't do this, nobody's going to shop here. So I don't understand where the American flag got left out. I mean, people died for that flag. People bled for that flag. People stood for that flag. People put that flag on the moon. People put that flag on Iwo Jima. We had Flag Day, for God's sakes. Now, I'm telling you, Lionel, I was on the stoop tonight, as I've known to be. I looked north. I looked south. I looked all the way. You couldn't find an American flag if Betsy Ross was sitting next to you. Something's wrong. Something's wrong.
Well, and also I think, I hope that maybe what we do is we figure out one of these days that, again, to bifurcate, to separate government from the culture. You know, one time when you and I When you and I met and it's just incredible at this wonderful Hell's Kitchen place, and you walk from table to table and you ask
The
people,
Galaxy.
do you want your bread? You want your bread? It was weird. It was strange. I said, John, please sit down.
Are you going to finish that? Are you going to finish that milkshake?
Don't let it go to waste. There's kids starving in Biafra. Name one. Remember that?
How about the pickle? The pickle?
Yeah, right.
Can you throw the pickle in?
Yeah. Give me
a pickle.
But during the case, we love. There's so much lore. Everybody. If I went to any city, I don't care who you are. I said, tell me about your town. Tell me about your family. Tell me what it's like to grow up in Scranton or in Polk County, Florida, whatever.
Yeah.
Everybody has a frame of reference, and everybody has their view of America through the prism of their own. So everybody can dig it. That's what I'm talking about. You were giving me this great story about just the Gleason's gym and the fighters and this was absolutely just stories. This is what America's about. I love the music part. Do you realize that in our neck of the woods, Power Station was here on 57th Street where, remember where the bar band used to be? I think that was Electric Ladyland or something. I mean,
Electric Ladyland is downtown on 8th Street. La Bar Bat is on 57th Street near 8th Avenue.
Right.
Yeah.
But there was something there. There was something.
Power Station. It was Power Station.
Yeah, but Power Station is also
on 8th Street in the Village.
Yeah, Power Station is on 54th now. It doesn't really matter. Doesn't matter. But the point is.
No, there was another recording studio there because little Stephen Van Sant used to always be there. I know what you're talking about.
Just do me a favor. Don't correct me, damn it. Don't correct me.
And you, touche, D'Artagnan. I'll meet you with the big tree. I'll meet you with the big tree.
But everybody there's so much lore and there's history that is American. It has nothing to do with any of this. That's what I got
to tell you a quick ditty, and this is the truth. And I'll make it as quick as I can. Many years ago, in a infamous snowstorm, I was hungry, angry, lonely, tired, too broke, too much pride to call my mother or father or anybody to help me. I was just going to suffer. I was going to be an artist. And I went out in the snow and started walking north on 10th Avenue. And as I got up near Lincoln Center, I got up near the back of Lincoln Center, and behind the Lincoln Center there, I could see that the swells were having a do there. There was a big tent up. So I've always carried a little penknife in my pocket, and I figured it's cold enough I can go over, find where the food is, cut a little hole in the tent, reach in and get some food. So as I was attempting to walk up the stairs in the back where they're doing construction now at Lincoln Center, I hear this guy saying to me, "What the hell are you doing?" Mm-hmm. And I turn around, and it's Richard Avedon. He's sitting there in the ice cold, smoking a cigarette with a Ralph Lauren tuxedo on, with the bow tie undone, a shock of silver hair. He said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "You're Richard Avedon." He goes, "How do you know I'm Richard Avedon?" I said, "Because you're from the Bronx. I'm from the Bronx. You're Richard Avedon." He says to me, "But what are you doing?" I said, "Well, listen." He said, food, right? So we got to talking, and he said, "What do you?" I said, "I'm trying to be an actor," and blah, blah, blah. He said, "Let me ask you a question. You look smart. I think you're smart. You might be smart. What are the two things that we've messed up in less than 100 years?" So I thought about it for a couple of minutes, and I said, I don't know. He said, "Jazz music and movie making. Nobody tells stories. We're a country." Remember Andy Devine on a Saturday morning with the big book? And he would tell an American story. And you would live off of that like it was mythology.
Right.
And this has disappeared now because as far as a lot of the people in the know or in the so-called know, there is no great American stories. Daniel Boone was a homophobe. Lewis and Clark were lovers. Eleanor Roosevelt had 9 black boyfriends. I mean, what is going on here? And people believe this. People are repeating this around the table. Well, you can't do anything at the water cooler anymore. You get canceled. What is going on, Lionel? What is going on?
You know, listen, we've been, and I think Marvin Gaye probably asked it best. All I know is simply this. You will be 100 years from now, 200 years from now, and I think we'll still be here. People our age will be saying, what the hell is wrong with these kids? There's a certain amount, and by the way, certain kids will say, what's the matter with these old people? They just forget that there's a conveyor belt and that we were once young and the young will be older. But in the meantime, let's just put that aside and just say, remember, if you're on the West Side, if you're in Hell's Kitchen, and if a man walking by with a feather boa doing his Monty Rock imitation asks you for your pickle, just do me a favor. Just don't question it. And by the way, you know what's funny? When you hold your hands up and you say, yeah, and he was a boxer, and you instinctively, you can tell you know what you're doing. Some people have that look. It's like, this guy knows what he's doing. You know, and that's another thing, too. I want to just say one thing. I am sick of UFC. I want boxing. I don't want to see somebody choking out somebody.
All right, so tonight on TNT, they're initiating a new boxing. There's going to be some fights on tonight. Pugilism. A.J. Liebling called it the red light district of sports, and he wrote the square ring. But tonight there's a great bunch of fights on, and if you want to see something extraordinary, there was a great fight last Saturday night in Barclays Center. Xander Sayas versus Boots Ennis, Philadelphia fighter and a young Puerto Rican. What a war. With gloves. None of this choking, elbowing, and none of that stuff. So pugilism.
Did you ever know a great friend of mine was Bert Randolph Sugar.
I knew Bert Sugar very well.
Oh, I did too.
Many a time I stood at the end of that cigar.
Oh, yes. Well, he was
Ring Magazine.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was so unique, and I used to love that he would just explain the beauty of it. And he could talk about Willie Pep for an hour, and that's something which I think we need to get back to. And anyway, good friend, listen, my best, I'm going to be talking to you. My wife and I are going to pick you out of that funk, and we're going to take you to some wonderful place and leave you there so you can spread your...
I would love that.
So you can spread your dour outlook anywhere elsewhere.
No, there's no
kidding.
dour. I don't have a dour outlook. I'm not eat, drink, and be gloomy. I'm not Eugene O'Neill.
Oh,
but
come on,
I'm just being a realist. And I know that every generation goes through it. I watch my father, but this is a little much. This is a little tilt.
I know what it is, and you know what? You're not.
Tilt.
Listen, you're not leveling with us, and I know what it's all about. It's a Taylor Swift wedding. You kept waiting for the invitation. I said, John, you're not going to get it, and you said
wait
no.
A minute. You've just opened a cornucopia here. I laughed that this clown Mondami sits at the George Washington desk and gives this speech, and that Bernie Sanders says the oligarchs. Well, what the hell do you call Renton Madison Square Garden?
Exactly. And by the way, one last thing.
Yes, sir.
When I took my wife to the Penn Station to go to D.C. this week, she walked in, she says, there's no homeless people. I said, you know why? Because of Taylor Swift. They took them all on a barge somewhere, and they left them. I don't know where they went.
They brought Newsom in because he cleaned it up so good when the Chinese came. He cleaned up Penn Station.
And we're not talking about Tommy Newsom either. Anyway,
Tommy
listen,
Newsom. I'll be here through the weekend. Tip the bartenders, please.
All right, John. All the best.
All right, Lionel. The best
soon.
to you. All right,
my friend. This is Lionel with you on this special 4th of July version of this thing of ours, 800-848-9222. Your thoughts and comments, no matter how inane, germane, or insane.
The Other Side of Midnight with Lionel. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Alrighty, Lionel with you. This is Another Side of Midnight, 4th of July edition. Happy 4th, or as some people say, 4th, like birthday, that F and TH. And by the way, Keith Richards does it too. It's also a British thing as well. Our number is 800-848-9222. Let's go to either Vivinia in Brooklyn. You're on the other side of midnight with Lionel.
Hey, Lionel. It's Viviana, and it's
but close enough. Close enough. Very close enough.
Very close. Very close. I was hoping and really just saying, Lord, help us to remember that America is exceptional. Mm-hmm. And it's funny, Lionel, I did a slideshow on what's going on in Catholic school in high school. So I have been really, my heart has always been for the nation and appreciating who we are. You know,
who are we? Answer that question. Who are we?
We are a people that are resilient. We are a people, and many of us have forgotten it, especially in New York, that do not take tyranny lightly. Mm-hmm. We are a people, if we really are retrospecting, that love liberty and help others to obtain liberty. Sometimes we've, done different things in war that perhaps we shouldn't have been there, or maybe our politicians just got in the way. But we are people that love God and love our liberty given from Him.
Do you think that things are worse now, or just the same? Or if they are worse, when did it change and why?
I believe that we are worse now because foreign entities, and I'm not doing this conspiracy theory stuff. I'm looking at conspiracy reality. Sure. We have foreign governments that have been infiltrating especially our colleges, teaching the kids to hate America, not teaching civics in primary grade.
Oh, yeah, here.
Teaching them we're not exceptional. When I heard ex-President Obama say, that we are the villains out in other countries, I wanted to say, resign today, you and the president.
Well, maybe, or yeah, exactly. He's not the president anymore. Let me ask you something.
No. Not representing us.
Well, who is? Let me tell you about you. Where are you from? I mean, not from. You're from here, but I'm saying your people. Give us an idea of your background and why do you get it?
I'm a Bronx girl, first of all. And, it's like take no garbage.
Prisoners. Yeah, right.
No prisoners.
Yes.
And my parents came from Puerto Rico.
Boricua.
Yes, Boricua, 100%.
And you also have the Cubana in you as well, right?
The what?
Don't you have the Cuban in you as well? Or am I confusing you with somebody?
Oh, my husband is Cuban.
There we go.
Yes. He served in the military for over 20 years. We've been a military family for about 5 generations. Even my grandson did a few years. Then he had to get out because of an injury. And my grandson has what we call the governmental anointing on his life. He looks at what's going on in the country, and he and I have dialogue. That's the other thing. People have not taught their children and given them those stories you were talking about, Lionel.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Where they get to analyze what's going on.
See, but what people forget is when I hear, and this drives me nuts, when I hear people say that they confuse illegal immigration and ICE, and I'm not going to argue, ICE did a lot of things that were wrong, but the principle behind them, trying to enforce immigration laws, Everybody, listen to you. I can tell you, my family's they're from all over the place. It's bizarre, but that's what makes us great. And by the way, you talk about the Bronx. Everybody talks about, of course, Queens and in Manhattan and Brooklyn. And Bronx is like the next. I love Arthur Avenue. I love. Oh my God! I'm telling you, that is what Little Italy used to be, maybe. But when I tell people, I said the Bronx, I said, you don't understand it.
That's right.
You want to talk about heterogeneity and how we are this wonderful, this multiplicity of cultures. So when I hear people say, America, there's this anti-immigrant, are you nuts? We love it. Can you imagine if I said to you, I'm going to snap my fingers and there is no Latino food, no Italian food, no Chinese food, no Korean, no Greek. It's like, what? No. So we have to remind people, listen, I wish you the best. What are you doing today for the 4th?
A few more points, if that's okay. I know you have to get
The floor is yours. The floor is yours. Please, go ahead.
Okay. I am part of a group in here on the military base because we have the privilege of living here, and I take my friends down to Arthur Avenue so that they can see that little slice of Italy. But guess what, Lionel? I don't know if you've discovered that there is a Latino restaurant down there that has typical decorations and everything and marvelous food. So I just want to tell you that. But the main thing that I wanted to share, if I can, is that the people who signed our Declaration of Independence, the 56 signers of the Declaration of Independence paid a tremendous price for our freedom. 5 were arrested by the British as traitors. 12 had their homes looted and burned by the enemy.
Wow.
17 lost their fortunes. Matter of fact, remember the Jewish gentleman that helped finance the revolution? He died a pauper because he gave all of his money. And then 2 sons and, some lost 2 sons in the Continental Army, and 9 fought and died during the Revolutionary War.
You're the Ken Burns.
That don't know these things, Lionel.
You are the Boricua Ken Burns. Listen, I thank you. Have a wonderful day. Please call me again. You are always welcome. Thank you, my darling. 800-848-9222. Let's go to Matt in the Bronx. Matt, you're on another side of midnight with Lionel. Happy 4th to you, good sir.
Happy 4th of July. So I want to recommend, speaking of immigration and American identity as a nation, I want to recommend the book, The Culture of Critique by Dr. Kevin MacDonald. It goes into a number of left-wing ideologies and left-wing political movements, including.
Are we doing this again? Is this every week you plug this book? It's okay.
Well,
is this your message? I don't want to say a one-trick pony, and it's a great message. But have you ever thought about maybe broadening your subject matter? I'm just saying. Maybe a different author.
Right. Well, this particular book is very compendious insofar as that it covers a lot of
interesting.
Yeah, it covers a lot of the subversive movements that have really led to the downfall of this country, including immigration. And one of the questions, your previous caller was like, she said that we're people that don't stand up for tyranny, that don't tolerate tyranny, and it's a definition of who the American character is. That might be true, but the identity of the country is in question. In the universities,
what would you do right now? What would you do right now if I could select you as being in charge of whatever the division was that would address this? What would you do to correct this? And don't say read the book, please.
Number one, I would gut the Hart-Celler Act of 1965. That's number one.
Explain that to people. Explain that what that means.
All right, the Hart-Celler Act, passed in 1965, otherwise known as the Immigration Reform Act of 1965, passed under the Lyndon Baines Johnson administration. That was the piece of legislation that essentially opened the border to the third world. Prior to that, we had the National Origins Act, and with the National Origins Act, it was designed to maintain the ethnic balance of the country, because the people who wrote the law, the 1924 Act that preceded the 1965 Act, the people who wrote the National Origins Act understood that ethnic homogeneity is an ingredient in social cohesion and national identity. Today, you know, there's nothing worse. There's nothing worse that you could call a white person than to call him a racist. You know, if he says that, you know, the United States was founded by settlers from Europe, and it should remain a European country. They denounce you as a racist for saying that. And again, you know, how come the Chinese aren't denounced as racists? Because they want to maintain a Han Chinese majority in that country. Or the Japanese don't want foreign immigration on the same scale as you see in Western Europe and the United States. They want Japanese immigrants only. So how come they're not denounced as racists? You know, so again, it's really, call it out for what it is. It's a war against white Americans and white Christian civilization. It's a genocide, is really what it is.
Well, do me a favor. Be careful with that word, only because it is. I'm afraid, like with other words, it's going to be diluted. By the way, I thank you so very much. Please call me again, the Hart Celler Act. By the way, that's CELLER, formerly the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965, fundamentally changing American immigration law, sponsored by Hart and Celler, signed by LBJ. It abolished the national origin quota system that had governed immigration since the 20s. The old system heavily favored immigration from Northern and Western Europe, while sharply limiting immigration from Southern Europe, Eastern Europe, Asia, and much of the rest of the world. Hart-Celler replaced that framework with a preference system emphasizing family reunification, skilled workers, and refugees. Now, at the time, many supporters argued that legislation would not dramatically alter the demographic composition of our country, and then subsequent immigration patterns proved otherwise. So it's a very, very interesting, very, very complicated. A couple of points. It compresses, listen to this, I looked this up. It compresses a very complicated issue into a single cause and effect narrative. The statement that supporters believed immigration patterns would not change dramatically needs nuance. Chain migration is politically loaded terminology. The old quota system deserves more context. It needs to be addressed, and it is something fascinating. So anyway, Hart-Celler, look it up for yourself. Thank you for that. Let's go to Frankie on Long Island. You're on another side of midnight with Lionel.
Happy semi-quincentennial there, Lionel. And
thank you, sir.
I'm from Glendale, Queens. Look,
I'm sorry to hear that.
I wish I was as eloquent as your last caller, and I feel for your friend there in Hell's Kitchen. But
he's doing great. Let me tell you something. We're gonna snap him. He's a tremendous individual, and we will take care of him. But what do you think, Frankie? How are you going to be noting today's celebration? Tell me, take us into the world of Frankie. Tell me who you are.
Well,
what are you doing?
Well, this is what I've done over here. I did something yesterday too, but I tried to encourage all of my neighbors to display American flags on their homes. I told you that a long time ago, and it does help because people, just encourage them a little bit,
Sure.
And I have a very nice block here. All kinds of people from all over the world. Some legal, some not legal, but I don't care as long as they behave themselves. But getting back to how sad your friend was about what happened. Tell you what happened. Senator Joseph McCarthy was right the whole time. Okay? The commies are taking over. And, maybe I'm going to sound like Archie Bunker, but the truth is the truth. They made him out to be the boogeyman, and just like they're trying to make our President Donald Trump to be the boogeyman. And it's a big fight. The overeducated idiots that are coming out of college, okay, are anti-American. They're in the media, not you. I because you grew up at a different time and you had different influences. I mean, we were happy to, lucky that we knew, some veterans from World War I and World War II, plus Korea and Vietnam. But
do you think the issue today is communism or something else? See, I don't think it's communism. I think communism is a catch-all term. It's not communism. Believe me, it's not. It may be some. It's like people use the word psychopath. Everybody's a psychopath. They say they're not a psychopath. But I'll tell you what I do think is interesting. Something along the way, and I don't know where it is, one of the things that's changed everything was when we started to hyphenate. We become, African American and Italian American and this American, and the American was acknowledged, but via the hyphen. And then later on, somebody said, "Hey, this is fun." Then it went to, I'm going to not hyphenate, but redefine my sexuality. And then we went into genders. And then we're saying we're doing everything that we can to dematerialize, to define everything, where nothing is real anymore. Gender's not real. Faith is, for all practical purposes, vanquished. Law and order. We have somebody right now called the Democratic Socialists of America. They're not socialists. They're capitalists, but they believe in a welfare kind of a world. And there are these people, which is very interesting. I hear a lot of folks today say, and this is so interesting, that they feel almost revolutionary again. And they say, this is great. Socialism. I saw an interview the other day with a young lady who says socialism, she believes in socialism. So they ask her a very simple question. Can you think of a system that was the best example of the socialism that you would like to replicate? What was it? And, is it Sweden or something? It's communist China, what? And she couldn't answer the question because she believes in the idea of government giving you things. And when we had this fellow running, by the way, do not dismiss Mamdani in New York. Do not dismiss him. Do not. Watch what he does. But he said something which was so stupid. One was free buses. This is just, it can't work.
I want free subways too.
Yeah, no, but can you imagine buses where all of a sudden anybody can just jump on and not leave? It's ridiculous. Then came, remember, the markets, the free food, not free, but these city-run markets, which that lasted about an hour. And all of this kind of a nicey rent freezes. And all you have to do is just say things. And then what happens is, so help me God, all you have to do, I would tell people, do yourself a favor. If your name is, Gloria Smith, change your name to something that sounds either Middle Eastern or something just in a nominative way, cryptic, wear some kind of a head dress. I don't care what it is. A gondolier's hat, a veil, a hijab, a mantilla, anything. And just come out and just look as though you're something different. Have a couple of hyphens in your name and talk about whatever. And you will be embraced even though nobody knows what the hell you're talking about. It doesn't matter. This is kind of where we are now.
Lionel, you're right in regards to this hyphenation and Italian American, Black American, but I still think the seeds of communism were planted, and it grew from that. And this is all of these things are spread out from that those seeds from back in the era when they wanted McCarthyism. It was true what he was talking about how the influence of the media, and look what they're doing now. It's the same thing. You got the biggest actor sitting in City Hall right now, and spreading this poison to the young. You know what else, Lionel? It's the smartphone. When they gave these phones, people who were not involved with politics
Obama phones,
are now
remember that?
involved, who believe what they hear and see on online. Like you said, you see these people. Oh, can you have your license and registration? No, I'm a free traveler.
Yeah, right.
I watch those sovereign videos that you do.
Sovereign citizen. Yeah. Now, Frank, you didn't answer my question. You didn't answer my question. What are you doing today? How are you celebrating?
I'll tell you what
are you doing? What are you doing?
I'm going to a car show. I'm going out to Belmore Long Island Railroad train station.
Beautiful.
A bunch of us old guys getting together with our antique cars or whatever you want to call them. I got a 76 Firebird. Then after that, I'm going to return back to Glendale. Yeah, it's a Formula 455. Mm-hmm. Anyway, then I'm going to go to a local Irish pub over here called the Celtic Gasthouse, and they're going to have free food and drinks, and that's it. That's how I'm going to celebrate the.
Well, listen, Frankie, you called me again. All my best to you, my friend. God bless America. Thank you for calling. I appreciate that. I want people to understand, seriously, what it is like to really have to get into a muscle car. My father got a car for my sister. It was a Chevelle. It doesn't sound like much, but I remember when just turning it on, there was a sound like, come on. And people are driving around with, here I am in my Tesla. It doesn't make any noise. Nice try. To really have a muscle car, to be able to hit the gas and the wheels spin and they burn out, and it's just like a rocket with chrome and a steering wheel that if you ever hit something, it would impale you and kill you on the spot. But just, I love that. The cars were different. I had my first car was a 1970 Chevy Impala. I don't know how he got it from somebody. And I remember my father says, go take it to Wally. We knew this guy, Wally. Okay, Wally. It's kind of like with Gomer Pyle. Go Wally. Go take it to Wally. So anyway, I knew nothing about cars. And he said, when was the last time you changed the oil? I said, well, let me see, I filled it up. He goes, no, that's the gas. What changed the oil? I said, excuse me. I said, what's the oil? He said, what? You've never changed the oil? I said, I don't know what you're talking about. Oil? You mean gas? No, oil. So he showed me. Nobody thought about this. And you would actually go to an actual, and this is, to even say this, you would go to a service station. There'd be a guy with a maroon rag named Buddy Wally, and he'd be on the car, would be up on this thing, and every time you would drive over that little rubber thing, that ding ding, that rang the bell, that signaled the bell, he'd have to get off of this thing, walk out, and check your oil, he actually checked tires. It was like, what? It was a service station. It wasn't self-serve or full service. It was just assumed. So anyway, so he's showing me this stuff, and he shows me where the dipstick is. And he pulls out, he goes, oh my God, he pulls it out, and it was glowing. There was no oil. And he says, when did you ever put oil? I said, for the last time, Wally. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know how many years I had this car, never put oil in it. But it was a Chevy. And you didn't need oil. You barely needed gas. It just was a monster. It had a trunk you could put a family of 6 in. It was all chrome. It was great. And I could tell every car from just the back rear, just the lights at night. Just the rear. I could tell you what car. cars had names and they had styles and they were different. Now I can't even tell. This is something which I think is the most stupid thing. In my garage, I have an assortment. You cannot believe a Ferrari, brand new SUV. There's a Bentley SUV, and they look like every other SUV. The SUV destroyed cars. I don't know what this thing is. It's not a station wagon. It's not that much better. It's not that better equipped. It's not like it's a Jeep. It's just, why would you get a Ferrari or a Lamborghini SUV? I don't understand it. That's not even, what? And I'm just, but I don't think people recognize how great we had. So every now and then, years in the South, that Steak and Shake, which I liked before Robert Kennedy, and the beef tallow thing, but they would have these, it was a drive-in, and they would have all of these cars from, these vintage. And I swear to God, I saw one time in Newport, Rhode Island. There was a car show, and I remember just staring. All the original upholstery, not the original upholstery, but the original parts, and just listen to it and just say, would you please start the car? Can I just hear it? Do you remember, Robert Klein does such a great routine, when you would start the car and you would pump it, and it would, and somebody would say, watch out, you'll flood it. Don't flood it. And we always said, I don't know what you're talking. I didn't even understand the oil, much less the flood. And then finally it would start up. Don't flood it. And whenever you lifted the hood, men, just like a barbecue pit, would just come out of nowhere and just look at it. Do you know, and I mean to tell you this, I have never, this model car, I always tell people it's a Yugo, but this car, I've never looked under the hood. Never. Not even sure where the hood is. I don't look. I just don't look. Never. Never put the oil, even the washer fluid, nothing. It's just a nice, but not like the old days. Remember, last point, did your father ever have our seatbelts? It was the hand that went out. His arm would go out to try to stop you, to keep you from flying through the windshield. That was the seatbelt we had. Anyway, it's a different story. I'm sorry. I'm waxing nostalgic. Our number is 800-848-9222. Happy birthday, America. Happy birthday. Whether you like it or not, I'm going to say it. Happy birthday, America. This is Lionel with you on Another Side of Midnight.
The Other Side of Midnight with Lionel. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Oh, yes. What is hip, my friends? Bump City, Tower of Power. I must say this. I must add this further explanation. There was not a PSA, but a historical moment. I don't know if you heard it, but it was about the movie The Godfather and the problem that Al Pacino had with Francis Ford Coppola. And it didn't really explain this very interesting aspect of why that movie was so important. Francis Ford Coppola wanted Al Pacino because he saw him, the tiger wears a necktie or something. Anyway, he saw him off Broadway, and John Cazale was in the movie or the play with him. But the geniuses at the movie, Charlie Bluthorn and Bob Evans and these idiots, management, the idiots, they said, no, we want to have Anthony Quinn, Robert Redford as Michael. He goes, what? And they wanted to have, Kirk Douglas just made this horrible movie. What was it? It wasn't the Coppola movie. Because the first Godfather was Fortunate Pilgrim, the first book that Mario Puzo wrote, by the way, who was a degenerate gambler. Doesn't make him a bad person. But there was this little scene, this little reference to this Don Corleone, this one little part of it. And they said to him, you really should advance that. So Francis Ford Coppola wanted wanted Pacino. They hated him. And this Charlie Bluthorn at Gulf and Western, he was this brutal. He said, we hate this. So what he did was he said, you know what I'm going to do? We're going to shoot the Sollozzo scene first, kind of out of order. And I'm going to show them because they hated it. Remember the first scene with when he goes, Don Corleone, he said, I believe in America, the America or whatever his name was. And he said the lighting was so unique. And somebody said, where's the lighting? What did you like this with a lighter? I mean, they didn't get it. Bonus. They didn't get any of it. Then Marlon Brando, who, by the way, picked up that cat out of nowhere. Lenny Montana, who was Luca Brasi, who actually was a hitman in any event. So what what Coppola did was he said, we're going to show them this. And I'll show you how good this Pacino was. Because the guy's too short. He's this. He's nothing. And Pacino was ready to go. He said, this isn't going to work out. In fact, Coppola almost had a nervous breakdown because of this movie. When they saw that scene with Al Lettieri as Sollozzo and Sterling Hayden as McCluskey, they said, you got it. Sold. And that was Coppola's genius. And they said, okay, can we at least film this in LA? And he says, no, you got to do it here. You just don't get it. Then Columbo and others said, we don't like this movie. And they said, okay. They said they finally agreed never to say the word mafia. And it was one of the most wonderful stories behind the scene. There's this one you got to read. Peter Biskind wrote a book called The Godfather Companion. He took the book, the screenplay, and the movie and put them together. And there's discrepancies here and there. The book was far better than, in some respects, the Luca Brasi thing. Oh, my God. I don't want to, no spoiler alerts, but you know what that guy did. I mean, it's bizarre. Already, my friends, our number is 800-848-9222. We have one more hour to go as we celebrate America. And I don't want to hear, I don't care whether you like the government or Trump. It's not about Trump. It's about the foundation. It's about the place that allows you to be a damn fool and to say such stupid crap like, I don't like this country. Only in America do we allow you to be the fool. But I digress. 800-848-9222. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Lionel with you on Another Side of Midnight.
The Other Side of Midnight with Lionel. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Alrighty, Lionel with you, and this is Another Side of Midnight. Our number is 800-848-9222. You know, this is a fascinating subject. I have, again, no problem whatsoever in explaining to people something very, very simply, that there is a difference between the government and the country. On the 4th of July, I keep telling you, it's important to remember something that has been, I don't know why, controversial in modern America. Loving your country is not the same thing as loving your government or loving your president or loving Trump or loving Republicans or Democrats or Biden or anybody. And it's certainly not the same thing as loving a political party. And I'm telling you again, in fact, you could make the argument that one of the highest forms, think about this, of patriotism is the willingness to question and to challenge and even, especially, oppose government when government forgets its proper place. And I know we've got problems. We had in our Constitution the Fugitive Slave Act, which says if a slave runs away, you got to bring him back. This is how important slavery was to us. And don't kid yourself, the Civil War was about slavery. You could say, well, it's states' rights. about slavery. But what does that mean? And I know Thomas Jefferson had slaves. Sally Hemings, I know. What do you want me to do about it? There's something called context. And listen, there comes a point where you have to say, listen, we have the 13th Amendment. In fact, the 13th Amendment came about 100 years before the 19th Amendment, which gave women the right to vote. How much are you going to tell me about slavery? Enough with this nonsense about reparations. And that's nonsense. Some people just love to bring this up. And then there are the professional complainers. We used to see this, oh my God. Even during, somebody mentioned Archie Bunker. Remember the typical Norman Lear, the Mike Stivic, the people who walked around with the hippies and the bourgeois, this and that, and Angela Davis. And by the way, those radical types were far more interesting. You know, the SLA and the SDS. The SLA, that was the Symbionese Liberation Army, the SDS, I should say, and the Weather Underground, Bill Ayers. These were serious. These people blew stuff up. I mean, we may have Antifa here and there, and they're pretty bad, but it was rough. So we've always had that to an extent. And then there were the professional, the professional, I don't know what you want to call it, the professional complainers, vetchers. You know, when people used to say, every now and then you'll hear somebody say, you know, I lived in Texas and I had to move. Why? Well, the jobs were no good. So I moved. I got out of D.C. I got out of L.A. I moved. Well, I always ask people, why don't you go someplace, especially if you really want to live in what you believe is socialism. And if you can find a social, I mean, maybe you could think of this kind of a Denmark, which is kind of like a socialism light, you know, then go. I mean it. I'm not giving you the old love it or leave it. But I don't understand. If you hate it, leave. It's just this, it is the, and yet here we have the biggest bougie tribute that nobody seems to mind. Mom Donnie doesn't mind, is Taylor Swift at the Garden. That is the most vile, over-the-top, conspicuous wealth. Bleh. Remember in 1969, again, I mentioned this before, Tiny Tim and Miss Vicky. So listen, I've got a lot of complaints about government, but not the country. Not the country. I wouldn't want to live anyplace else. Never. I got a news for you. This is the best part. You ready for this? And I recognize that sometimes to some of my friends I might seem a bit archaic, but I've got no interest in going outside of the country. To be honest with you, I'm not so sure I want to go anyplace. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what people are going to think of me. I don't know. I know people who say, do you want to go to China? No. You want to go to Iran? No. The food's great. I'm sure it is. Count me out. I don't really want to go hardly any place. If I had my druthers, and by the way, you know what druthers are, right? It's a contraction of the word I'd rather, drather, druther. Anyway, it's from the I'd rather. But my wife and I would love, ideally, I would love to have a great motor coach, one of those Willie Nelson buses, one of those great buses that have a driver, because I don't want to drive, and go all over the country. I would love to drive into a town, some little town I've never heard about. Never heard. When my wife and I were in the Denver area one time, we saw this guy. He says, you know, if you get a chance, not too far from where you are is Chugwater, Wyoming. I said, Chugwater? I love that. Chugwater, right? Yeah, Chugwater. It's just, what the hell? The name. I said, let's go. So we drove there, and it's this little funky place, Chugwater, Wyoming. It's in Plata County, and there's about, I don't know, population is 169 people. 169 people. and it's flat. I've never seen anything like it. And then we went through Casper, Wyoming, which is where all of the trains, I forget which train line it was, but they all converge. I never saw anything like this. It was incredible. I love this place. 169 people. That was it. Chug water. I mean, that's just, I love it. Speaking of great names, in Florida, where I'm from, which is another, people always say, oh, I'm going to go to Palm Beach. Palm Beach, you got to go to Sop Choppy. They have the grunting event every year. This is where they actually they used to have these kind of like a didgeridoo type of device in the ground that you would what am I trying to say? You would hum or vibrate. Sometimes they would use actual batteries to bring the earthworms up. This is in Sop Choppy. Is that a great name? I like this country. I want to know what's going on here. I'll never see half. My next place, I've got this thing. I want to go to New Mexico. I think that just looks funky. By the way, that's where some of the great chefs are. The chefs, I hate to break it to you, are not in New York. The real culinary, the new wave ain't in New York. And it's not Wolfgang Puck, and it's not Chinese pineapple pizza. What I'm trying to say is I like this place. I like us. I like us. I like our music. I like our food. I like us. I don't like all of us. It's like having a dysfunctional family. But I wouldn't think about moving anyplace else in the world. I would change so many things. So many things. I mean, there's some things I want to do that I think are rather radical. If I had my way, I would absolutely destroy. I sound like John Kennedy, and look what I got him. Our intel agencies, smash them into 1,000 pieces. I love what Luna is doing, Paulina Luna, whatever, in Florida, at least trying to bring up about MK Ultra, which we'll probably talk about tomorrow. Oh, there's a lot of stuff I would do differently. A lot of stuff. We had a president who for 4 years there was an auto pen who signed for him. And by the way, also be on the lookout because Kamala Harris, or as we say in West Tampa, Kamala, is talking to Mamdani to try to work together, and he doesn't really want to get near her, but she's trying. So this is all going on. But that has nothing to do with the country itself. Nothing. Zero. So let's go back to the phones, back to what I call fun, my friends. And let's go to Paul in Glen Cove. You're on another side of midnight with Lionel.
Back 1 minute.
Huh?
Hey, Mr. Lionel?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Lionel, I'm so sorry. This is going to be one of the most boring calls. I just had to go back into the ER, so I'm just stepping outside for 30 seconds. I just want to give I love your show. Usually,
what are you in the ER for? Wait. What are you in the ER for? What's going on? Tell us.
Oh, well, I work in the ER as part-time job beside my landscaping.
Oh, you work?
Yeah, I'm a nurse in the ER, and I just stepped outside and left my buddies, my brother nurses Patrick Quinn and Matt Veza and Dr. Silver. I just left them right now, so they won't be happy. But thanks for taking my call, and I just want to wish you a happy 4th. And I love that lady. I just want to say a shout out to that lady who called you with her heritage from Puerto Rico, and your buddy from Hell's
What
Kitchen.
about you? Yeah. Yes, sir. What about your heritage? What part of Alabama are you from?
Yeah, right. You got that straight away, right? Gosh darn it! I've been here 42 years, and I thought I speak like John Wayne by now, but apparently not.
Well, you do.
From the little county of County Wexford in Ireland, the home of the grandparents of the Kennedys, and God bless him, JFK was there 4 months before he was assassinated.
Yeah.
And we built a big arboretum all around the original house. So if anybody's going to Ireland, everyone goes to the West Coast. But I always tell my patients here, well, when I'm wheeling them out and giving them a shot of whiskey, I tell them go to Wexford. So that's unofficial. I tell them to go to Wexford. We have the oldest lighthouse in the world, and we have a beautiful arboretum. in memory of JFK, and you can go into the original cottage where the grandparents grew up, and you can have a cup of tea. And Jackie, God bless her, she sent a lot of his belongings, including the very rosary beads that he was carrying in his pocket in Dallas that day, and she sent them she donated them, and they're on display there. But again, I like I said, this is one of the most boring calls you're going to get.
Not at all, Paul. No, not at all, not at all. I just keep thinking about there's some poor patient that you've abandoned your team. They're waiting. Somebody's standing there with a scalpel, and they're waiting to close the wound. And you said, "I've got to go. If you don't mind, I'm going to go outside and have a wee call."
No, nothing too serious. I mean, I was in the middle of CPR doing compressions on a patient, but
there you go.
He'll be okay. He'll wait for a minute. Yeah, I have to say, I mean, I do work in one of the best hospitals in Long Island, in New York, Northwell, Glen Cove, and hopefully they'll get me a raise. But what was I going to say? Oh yeah, your guy, your buddy from Hell's Kitchen.
Yes,
Tell
sir.
him that. Yeah, if it makes him feel any better, this immigrant of 42 years, a very, very, very proud American, and I've done some service with the fire department. My son is a lieutenant in New York City,
Beautiful.
FDNY. But if it makes him feel any better, I was embarrassed that for the past 6 months I did not have a flag because it had broken, and today I put up and I bought a new flag and put it up, and a POWMIA flag, and I put it up. And
bless your heart.
If time for your buddy sounds really cool, and if you guys are ever, if you want to keep my number, I'd love to buy you guys breakfast, lunch, whatever at a diner, because I'd love to meet that guy from Hell's Kitchen. Because tell him to keep.
He's the best. You know what? Absolutely, yeah. Paul. You have made my day, and to you and your family, I say to you, well, you are what make this country great. And God bless you and your family, and happy birthday, America, to you, my friend. I mean that.
Thank you very much, sir. It means a lot.
All the very best. Thank you, sir. All the best. That's our good friend Paul, who doesn't think anything of abandoning those in need. Just kidding, of course, to make a call. Our number is 800-848-9222. This is our 4th of July special, so to speak, on this special day as we celebrate America on another side of midnight.
The Other Side of Midnight with Lionel. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
All righty, Lionel with you. I think it was the 4th of July. The great Bobby Lamb from Chicago. One of the best bands the best songs you've never heard because you've heard this, which is fine, and Beginnings and everything else. But in any event, my friends, 800-848-9222, 800-848-9222. Let's go back to the phones, back to what I call fun. Let's go to Evan in New Jersey. You're on another side of midnight with Lionel.
Lionel, happy 4th. How you doing?
Good, sir.
Excellent. So I will be celebrating, hopefully, in the cool today. Hopefully my power doesn't go out.
Yes. Excellent.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I was thinking of going to a parade this morning, but, one of the things that I really love about this country, and my late grandmother always said this, and I think it's applicable to many different things, you can tell a lot about a community based on the grocery store, and, of course, being from Jersey, the diners, because when you overhear some of the conversations that take place in a diner, it reminds me of a bodega maybe, or even a barber shop, and I think it's just incredible, and I think that's a little piece of America that a lot of people...
Do you have any links to Philly by any chance?
I used to live in South Jersey.
Okay, I was going to say yes. I can hear it. I can hear it in your voice.
Oh, yes. I'm an Eagles fan. Do you root for Tampa Bay? If I have to,
no.
Is that where you're from?
I don't root for anybody. I have no. I mean, I'm from. By the way, Tampa Bay is a body of water. I never understood that. Green Bay, at least, is a city. That's they say. Where do you live? East River? What? Anyway,
you see, I'm ignorant about this because I've been.
You do know you have a couple of telltale words, just like a boot is to Canada. I can tell. You can tell, by the way, a regionalism. And that's, by the way, it's very, very, be proud of that. Be proud of that.
Mm-hmm.
But,
yes.
you bring up something which is I try to explain to people. I said, first of all, diners, it's the wrong name. They're just how they do this. I have no idea. There's something so I love the most pedestrian, the most run of the mill, the most prototypical Greek diner with the, Stapalopoulos, that kind of where the family is there and they're yelling. That's what I want. There's nothing like it. There is a style that has a lot of aluminum, I mean, I love those. That is just.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what's also wonderful too? You could, wherever you're driving on a Sunday, there'll be a little place like a Tasty Freeze or like a little soft serve ice cream with a line down the block. And people will always say, I got to go there. I've got to go. And it's very nondescript. I love that.
Sometimes the best places actually don't take credit cards, I've noticed.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And and I love, as we get into the summer, especially with Jersey, the corn and the farms and the tomatoes, and it's just.
Blueberry capital of the world, Hamilton, New Jersey.
Where is that?
Hamilton, New Jersey, blueberry capital of the world. I would say it's about 30 minutes outside. 30 minutes outside of Atlantic City. They have something called Red, White, and Blueberry Festival every year, and ours just passed in. I'm not from Hamilton, but that literally just passed a few days ago, and the blueberries are to die for.
Do you know what's funny? We had a thing outside of Tampa. There's a place, Plant City. They call it the strawberry capital of the world. They have the strawberry festival and the strawberry this, the strawberry that. And one year I was in this radio station and they said, do you want to be a part of this promotion? I said, oh God, what is it? They said, it's the cow chip throwing contest. I said, are you kidding me? I said, this is the most stupid thing. He goes, no, come on, it's the station. It's like, all right, okay. So anyway, I'm doing a morning drive or doing a show. It was middays. And they said, listen, the people from, I think it was Ada, Beaver, wherever it was, Arkansas. I said, who? They said, from the cow chip throwing. I said, what are you talking about? I said, no, they're from the original or the official cow chip, league or something. I said, there's a league? I said, you're kidding me. So anyway, so they came, they're very serious. So they said, are you going to be participating? I said, yeah, I mean, I'll take one for the team. He goes, well, this is very important because we have a judge who measures the cow chip before you throw it. And I said, these people are demented. There's big. They're anyway.
The bar exam to be a judge for that?
No. But listen to this. So I went out there for this event. This is very, very American. They had this is the Plant City Strawberry Festival. They had a greased pole where people tried to climb. I thought, I don't know what century this is from. So I met this guy from a competing radio station. He came up, he says, I win every year. I said, you win what? He said, the cow chip throwing. I said, what is with you people in this stupid? I said, fine, you'll win. I don't care. I'm only doing this because they told me I had to come. So anyway, we're at this is a true story. There was this wagon where they had all these cow chips. They're all dried out and they have a judge who has a tape measure and he measures it. So I get to select my chip. Okay. Now everybody's picking up these round things, but I saw one that looked almost like a flying saucer. It was flat. So I said, I'm going to throw this. Okay. So it came time to throw it. This guy heaves it. It's no big deal. I threw mine, and I swear to God, a gust of wind or something, it took off like this. Frisbee. And people in the stands were cheering, and I won. But I didn't just win. I broke the record. And I said, because you schmucks are... Anyway, the second year, I said, I got to do this again. The second year, I broke my record. Now, I'm not kidding you, Mr. Cow Chip. They won it. I swear to God. they interviewed me with this, whatever this paper was in this little town. Anyway, I turned around when I won, and they gave me a trophy. They said, "Do you have any words?" Evan, I'm not kidding you. I'm in this stadium. I said, just like this, I said, "This is what America is about. To get good, clean fun." So anyway, and I'm kind of like schmaltzing it up. But then I kind of got choked up. I realized, wait a minute. Here I am. I'm throwing cow turds and people are clapping. And I thought, damn it, this is America. You can have your Hamptons. You can have whatever you want. Give me Plant City and let me throw cow chips. And I love these little local things. Like I would love to go to that little blueberry thing. In Florida, in a place called San Antonio around Dade City, they have the rattlesnake roundup. You know the Bellamy brothers are in the country music. They live in this place, Darby. Anyway, they had a rattlesnake roundup. They don't have it anymore because it was this guy. And I thought, for God's sakes, how many rattlesnakes are they going to find?
Wow.
Oh,
it's interesting. I've been to 31 states and I have not yet been to Florida. And people are very surprised to learn this about me.
What was your favorite state other than Jersey?
Well, if we're talking about favorite state as in state that I would most like to move to if I had to leave New Jersey, it would definitely be the Boston area because I just love Boston. But
really?
If I would say visiting, though, I really love driving to Texas. Texas was unbelievable. I love the Dallas area.
Isn't that something? There are 3 states in this country that I think are on its own that are almost separate. Louisiana, Texas, but West Virginia. These people are so West by God, Virginia. And I told them, I said, and they're very, there's an old joke. How can you tell that the inventor of the toothbrush is from West Virginia? Anybody else would call it a teeth brush. Anyway, because that's their whole thing. They're rednecks. A friend of mine sent me a picture. He said, "I'm in West Virginia," and he stopped at this little kind of not a bodega, but a convenience store at a gas station, and they had cigarettes and brass knuckles. They're selling this. I said, "This is America," and I said, "Not only are you've got Virginia, but you're like West Virginia. You don't even have your own name." But they have this pride, this like weird pride. I'm telling you, I think, did you know that in Florida, there's a place called Casadega? The whole the whole town, I guess, is nothing but psychics. The whole place. Really? Everybody. It's so interesting. There's Christmas and the Cadillac.
Elections must be wild there.
Yes. Evan, I've enjoyed this immensely. Please call me again, my friend, and happy 4th of July to you, sir.
Happy 4th. Thank you.
Indeed. Let's go back at the phones, Let's go to George in Westchester. You're on Another Side of Midnight with Lionel.
Chicago Transit Authority. Lionel, I love your show. Oh, man.
Yes,
you brought
sir.
back so many memories. You brought up Greek diners. That famous chef, he goes to fix the diners, Bobby Flay. He went to a Greek diner, right? The menu was like War and Peace. He couldn't believe it. It was like 20, 30 pages. He goes, "You got to get rid of some of this." So they got rid of it. But when he left, they brought it back. It was great. Also, he was sitting at the table with like 4 college girls. He's going, "This thing is like War and Peace, this menu." And then you brought up Jersey diners, but there's people in bed right now. They're going to jump out of bed when I say this. What about the Stewart root beer shacks off the route?
Yes.
Remember them? Oh, man. And the gentleman just brought up blueberries. And people, you drive down the Jersey Turnpike, you're not thinking corn and blueberries.
Right.
But also eggplant, too, is very big in New Jersey.
Really? Melanzane.
Oh, Maron. That's off the revenue on steroids. But the thing is, the northern people from Newark and Jersey City, they became Central Jersey and South Jersey. They moved out in the 1960s. They ran out of there like there was no tomorrow. But the thing is, I like to mention is, this is the big 250, 250 years. This country Unbelievable. I love the way you identify patriotism and loving the country. You don't have to love everything, everybody in it. You know, people, some people are naive, I remember, Lionel, about 20 years ago, people were saying, no one's going to listen to this guy no more. No one's going to listen. I said, no. He's going to meet with popes and presidents, and it was Al Sharpton. He's bigger than ever. And unfortunately, and the European tourists from soccer, what about them? They're taking all the air conditioners home, but most of the air conditioners run on 110, and they go on 220 out there. They're not going to be able to plug it in.
Let me throw one thing. I'm not a Jersey expert. My wife is a proud Jersey girl, and I appreciate that. But there's one thing which is very interesting, and you may or may not know this, and I'm surprised it's this rare. But there is something that is, I think it's only in Newark. I think it's the Italian hot dog. Have you ever had that?
Oh, delicious! But they dress it up. They dress it up.
Right, Jimmy Buff's, I think, is one in the White House or something. This is a pizza roll. This is something that only more people have said, what are you talking about? That is so uniquely, that the hot dog thing, the whole Rutt's hot. I don't even eat that now, but I'm saying, but this, give me something that has a name to it, where somebody has this, I don't know, something that people, give me something regional. This is what I would love to do. My dream would be to drive in a very nice motorhome, a coach, to pull into a town and say, listen, if you had your best friend that you haven't seen in 50 years, where would you go eat? Give me a local place. Give me a local place where the locals go. What do you like? Tell me. I don't want to, it's like I'd love to go maybe to France or Paris. I don't want to go to Paris. I want to go outside. What do the locals think? I want to know what it's like to be you. That's like when people talk about New York, I said, you have no idea. When you visit here, this is one of the, and I always tell people, I said, please do me a favor. Stay out of Times Square. Please. Let me tell you where to go. And I mentioned Arthur Avenue and other places as well. This place is, you could spend a year just eating. It's incredible. You could go, have you seen like in Hell's Kitchen where we are, like 9th Avenue, 10th Avenue? Oh my God. At night, the heterogeneity of the food, that's what this country is. I mean it. It's not, I don't care about Bill Clinton or even Trump. I mean, Trump's fine, but that doesn't define who we are. Not at all. And let me also tell you, and I'd love to do this. Can you imagine, my friend? In fact, Reagan did this. Can you imagine if all of a sudden this country ever felt like it was being invaded by something, either a foreign entity or maybe something from outer space, and all of a sudden we said, calling all Americans, we need your help. And all of a sudden, people who you would not even give the time of day said, all right, we're all in this together, brother. As a great Cam Fong as Chin Ho said on Hawaii Five-0, we're all in this together, brother. Can you imagine fighting Americans? We're insane. We're like this borderline homicidal. We're ready to lose it at any moment. But if we joined forces, I'm dead serious about this. Think about this. If we said, oh, no, you don't. Good luck. Because they always talk about, the Turks are great fighters and the Koreans are great. I would put, have you ever seen an excerpt from some crazy fight in a Walmart or a Carnival Cruise Line or whatever it is? Can you imagine these people joining forces against some invading foreign force? They don't have a chance. We are cold-blooded, nasty, vicious, but I think if we ever join forces, it would be the greatest thing. I think we would be amazed at the solidarity because we've never felt any we don't have nothing threatens us. We don't feel any anyway, thank you for your call. I was watching something the other day. There's a show I watch called Breaking Points. It's very interesting. I don't know if it'd be your cup of tea. You might call it a lefty, but there's such in-depth And this girl, young girl, well, younger, she must be in her 40s. And she said, I'm not into flags, and I'm into I'm not into American this and that. And there was this another broad, pardon my French. She's had so much eye work. She always looks like she's squinting. And she says, I'm thinking about burning a flag. It's like, do you have to say that? Look, I want to say, can you do me a favor? I don't care if you hate Trump. That's your right. You can hate Trump, love him, or Biden. Can you just separate Trump from the flag? I know people who were saying, this is terrific. I want you to go, there's 250. Ha, ha, ha. It's a bust. Nobody's showing up. And I said, why are you saying that? Because it's Trump. I said, you're missing the point. Why are you happy about this? Why are you happy about this? Now, of course, the fact that it's 150 degrees in the shade, it's another story. I don't like this. There's something that's so American about going and watching fireworks. Now, personally speaking, they bore the hell out of me. They just bore me. But it's not about the fireworks. After the second or third one, I got it. By the way, there is a YouTube video. It is one of the you will laugh so hard. It's in an urban setting, and it's a bunch of fireworks that kind of got out of control. And the narrator of sorts of this is a man who is barking every kind of expletive you can imagine. Oh, you will howl. Let me give you this before I forget. When we were kids in the South, when summertime came, when you went to the Carolinas, that's where the fireworks were. There was a time when you would get Coors would be in the west of the Mississippi. Remember that the whole Smokey the Bandit thing? Coors was a big deal. Then we got Coors and nobody wanted it. In any event. But during the summer, if you went to the Carolinas, they had, and not this piddly stuff here, but when I was a kid, we had M80s and M1000s. A brick of Black Cat fireworks. A brick. It looks almost like masonry. A couple thousand, I don't know, bricks. And you would throw the entire thing into a barbecue. This whole brick. Bottle rockets, like you can't believe, with a report. Roman candles that could just. We were so insane with these. I remember one time chasing. This is terrible. A kid, I had Roman candles, one in each hand, and I'm trying to aim it as this kid's running. Thank God he had a coat on. These 10,000 degree phosphorus balls of red and coming out of this. I'm trying to hit him with it. We enjoyed this. The sickest thing, and I'll let it go. An M80, a real M80, but the M1000s, if you put one of those in a mailbox, I know this is wrong. I'm sorry. Please, I don't advocate this. I'm not proud of this. I'm just telling you what I saw, all right? I'm sure it was a federal violation. But if you put one of those in a mailbox, forget it. It would, it's incredible. And we bought these. I had a firecracker go off in my hand one time. I went to the doctor and he says, well, your nails are going to turn black. Sure enough, my hand felt like it was like numb, tingling for like a week. I said, I'm not going to lose this. He goes, no, but it was close, but that's okay. We laughed. But this is the sickest. Listen to this. This guy, he was a little twisted. He had an M80. Listen to what he did. His mom she was into arts and crafts. She had a glue gun. And he coated the outer part in this glue and rolled them in BBs. An M80 with shrapnel. Do you know how sick that is? Nobody got hurt. Nobody got hurt. So I got to tell you this one story. I had this one bottle rocket I was waiting for. This thing had a nose cone on it. It looked like it was just. Remember during COVID, everybody was shooting fireworks in the city. I don't know where they got those from, but this one I was waiting. This was from South Carolina, but it was a biggie. So I had a Folgers coffee can, and I had it straight up. I was going to do it just one of these, where it takes off. Well, as I lit it, for some reason, the actual bottle rocket slipped, and the trajectory went from 90 degrees to 45 degrees. I thought, oh no. And I couldn't get near it because it was going to blow up. So it just took off, went over my parents' backyard, went across the street. We had this woman, Mrs. Jones, who I'll never forget as a kid. She insisted upon wearing nylons. She had hair on her legs. I thought my father was a hairy guy, not like Mrs. Jones. Matted, weird. She had an accent, Spanish, Honduras, very odd. Anyway, it flew across, hit her front. I'm watching in horror. Hit her front door. This noise, like thunk. She happened to be right at the front door inside when she heard this thump, this, I don't know what it sounded like. It was a bit of an overhang too. She opened the door, so help me, I should go blind if I'm lying. This thing detonated, this report, I can't whistle now, this report. So she opens the door, it's boom, red, yellow, green, sparkles, all right there in this overhang. It sounded like the William Tell overture, like she was like a howitzer hit her. She didn't know what it was. And I just sunk down. I said, oh my God, I'm watching this, trying not to laugh, but terrified. I said, I'm going to go to prison. They're going to call the police. I'm sure there's some law that I violated, and I'm going to go to prison. Me. So I walked back. I said, I think I'm going to go to bed right now. It's a little early. I said, well, we said early to bed. And the police never came. But it was one of those things. And the best part about the fireworks, which was so prototypically American, was the fact that it was scary. And girls would do the sparklers. We don't do the sparklers. We would always take these things and break them up and put them together and glue them together. We wanted explosions. Nobody lost an eye. Nobody lost a hand. Nobody got hurt. We didn't have helmets. Nothing. BBs and an M80. I mean, a wrist rocket. You could take an M80, put a fishing weight on it, put it onto a wrist rocket like a slingshot. Send that thing down the street. All of a sudden, there's this M80 that's blowing up. I mean, just dangerous, violent, dangerous. Nobody got hurt. That's America. You hear what I'm saying? That's America. All right, let me see. Let me see. I can barely. Let's go to Linda in Chicago. Linda, you're on Another Side of Midnight with Lionel.
How you doing? What happened to the lady with the firework?
I never found out. I have no idea. I guess she's okay. I saw her the next day, but she probably wondered, what the hell was that? Anyway, thanks for asking, though, Linda. Happy 4th to you, dear lady.
Happy 4th to you, dear, too. I just want to give you a couple of tips. My David used to sell RVs, and we used to travel all over the country. But the first thing you need to do is go to a truck stop and get an actual Atlas map. To heck with your GPS and everything else. Take a map.
Good.
And don't be surprised when you're driving or whoever's driving and you're looking at the map. Say, turn right and go see all the beautiful things in this country you would never see any other time. Unless you see on this map. Things like Tacamanon Falls and whatever the case is. And also, when you stop at rest areas, the people manning them, ask them where to go to eat or ask them what to go to see or where to stay.
Yes.
And also, stop at a Waffle House and have some breakfast.
Oh, I'm very familiar with Waffle House. Waffle House, we had those in the South. Oh, yes. Let me tell you something. I could just sit at the counter and watch the symphony of a line cook. A guy who's been doing this his whole life just works so perfectly, timing everything perfectly, taking the menus, putting them together. I think that is it's to watch a really great. I wish we could see more of the counter work to see how they actually prepare it. And Waffle House, you could do it. And they used to have this thing. If they said if we make a mistake adding it up, it's free. I'm thinking, who's adding this up? Anyway,
especially if they sing, especially if they get to sing and stuff. That was always
really
fun. But yeah, some of the places they would sing.
You sound like a veritable.
My 3 tips.
Well, listen, Linda, I thank you, and I wish you and your family the best. Happy 4th of July to you. Isn't this great? See, I'm convinced. You can have Paris. You can have all this. Give me chug water. Give me sop choppy, and a motor coach, and I'm happy. Hear that, honey? That's what we're going to do. Our number is 800-848-9222. This is the 4th of July version of Another Side of Midnight with Lionel.
The Other Side of Midnight with Lionel. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
All righty, Lionel with you in the waning moments. Oh, Mr. Tom Waits, yes. This is the way I sound like in the morning. Imagine Tom Waits going to audition. Hi, my name is Tom Waits. Here's my song, The Piano Has Been Drinking. What? You're perfect. I'll take you. Same thing with Carol Channing, Anthony Newley. How about hearing Burt Bacharach sing? Oh, my God. In any event, my friends, in the waning moments of this thing of ours, remember, we'll be here until a couple more minutes, and then tomorrow again on Another Side of Midnight. Let's go back to the phones and back to the fun. Let's go to George on Long Island. George, you're on Another Side of Midnight with Lionel.
Yeah, Lionel, I can talk about diners. I'm a Greek from Brooklyn.
Excellent.
In those days, we all owned restaurants. But the Greeks didn't believe in the child labor laws. I was working at 8, 9 years old, and I figure I'll go quickly. I figure I got to go to school. I go to school, graduate, become a court officer. I've told you before I was a court clerk.
Yes, indeed.
But I'll go quickly. One of my relatives goes, we have a problem. Go see Costa. I don't want to say the name of the place on Flatlands Avenue. The chef in the morning, the griddle man, which is an important part of making money in the diner,
certainly
has a problem. The gangsters are after him for he doesn't pay his gambling debts. Greeks like to gamble. You may know that.
I did not know that, sir.
Now, Greeks like the Chinese. We like to gamble. Not me anymore. So they go to this place on Flatlands Avenue. We'll give you $1,000 to pay his debt and tell him not to take money from him. So I go to a place, the famous place. I didn't know much about it, the Gemini Lounge, where Roy DeMeo was killing people.
Oh my God!
I didn't know that.
Wow.
So I go there with my pea shooter off-duty gun, a Colt Detective Special 6-shot. I go in there. I see a big, heavy guy, and I go, I want to pay Jimmy's debt off, but don't take. And I had an idea. I wasn't the only one in the place that had a gun on them. So I go in there. I see this big, big guy. He's wearing a Jewish star, maybe a leftover from Murder Incorporated. Who knows? I didn't know, about Roy DeMeo in those days. So I go there. Right. I said, please don't take any more bets. And he goes, and then he's go ahead. And the guy yells. I was like a kid, about 26, 25. He goes and he yells out, hey, this kid is telling me what to do. He's telling me not to do my business. Mm-hmm. They all start laughing. I go, oh, here we go. But and he says to me, I give him the money, and he never took a bet from him. But he says to me, would you, he didn't know what I did. I told him. He said, would you like to come work for me, I guess, collecting money? I go, oh, no, I'm going to college. I figure I'm lying to him. And he goes, what are you majoring in? I go, criminal justice. And the whole place started laughing. So I could just tell you, I mean, from Greeks, I'm very proud to be a Greek American. We went from restaurant owners. No. We went from restaurant owners to, Indian chiefs, lawyers, doctors, and, your owner of the station.
But, of course. Yes.
I'll never forget Brooklyn. I will never forget it. I have a few bucks. I wish I could go back there, but my wife won't go. She likes living in this stupid golf course community, and I never played around the golf in my life. When my Greek friends come over here, they go, "Why are you living here?" I said, "I don't know. I have a few bucks, and you're supposed to go live in a golf course." And I don't know what else to say. I'm going to a party on the north. I live on the version of the North Fork. My friends have these big houses, on the water. They all do very well, and they talk about, they're brokers and all of that stuff. And they go, I give them my line. They say to me, they're talking about the thievery and the gangsters and the guns and all of that. I go, I learned one thing working in the courthouse. You can, and they all think they think they're great because they have money. He goes, I always learned from the court you could steal more with a pen and a phone than you can steal with a gun any day.
Absolutely. Listen, my friend, I thank you so much, George. Thank you. My best to you and your family. Happy 4th of July to you and to you as well, my friends. God bless America. Have a great and a safe day. I mean that. Remember, love your country. Forget the government. Forget the politicians. That's a different story. But the essence of who we are, that's a different story. No matter who you are. All right? Terrific. Have a great and a wonderful day. Thank you so much for being with us. We'll see you again tomorrow. Don't forget, my friends, I always say, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Da-da.